Mother Aisha used to say, and this again goes against normal human nature. It goes against the norms. When someone is in charge and in control, the Prophet ﷺ was not foul-mouthed or given to rudeness. He did not make noise in the marketplace and did not reply evil with evil, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Rather, he would overlook and forgive. This was his character, alayhi salatu wasalam. Shaykh ibn Uthaymeen, may Allah have mercy on his soul, says that having a good character, having a good attitude and manners is usually divided into two types: having good manners with Allah and having good manners with the people. When it comes to having good manners with Allah, this means that whatever Allah commands you to do, you fulfill. And whatever Allah prohibits you to do, you stay away from and refrain. And you do this gladly, with an expanded chest. No resentment, no hesitation. Rather, you fully comply with whatever Allah Azza wa Jal tells you to do. As for having good character and manners with the people, this is well known when we see this from others. When you do not annoy them, when you do not nag them, when you do not demand things from them, and you are tolerant to their abuse, and you face them with a smiling face all the time, as the Prophet used to do, alayhi salatu wassalam. Now, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to express his attitude and manners in a positive way with his servants. Anas ibn Malik, may Allah be pleased with him, said, I've accompanied the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam and served him for 10 years. Never ever he said, uff, which is an expression of displeasure. Never ever he said, uff, and he would never say to something that I have done, why did you do this? Or for something I did not do, had you done so and so? He would never complain, alayhi salatu wasalam. And he also, Anas, may Allah be pleased with him, says, he also was one of the best of the people in manners and attitude. So, Anas says, I have never touched any softer than his hands, not even silk. His hands were softer than silk. And I would never smell something more beautiful, fragrance-wise, than the Prophet's sweat, alayhi salatu wasalam. It was even more fragrant than musk, sallallahu alayhi wa wasallam. And once he was asked, alayhi salatu wasalam, how many times, O Prophet of Allah, should we pardon and forgive our servants? And the man repeated the question 3 times, so that everybody would listen and be attentive. And in the 3rd question, the Prophet said, alayhi salam, he said, on a daily basis, you should forgive and pardon your servant 70 times. Not once, not 10, 70 times. And the man was referring to slaves, not someone you hire on monthly basis and you give them wages to serve you. These are free men and women. You have no right over them. The Prophet was referring to slaves. And he says, out of his compassion and good manners, we should pardon and forgive our slaves, even if it amounts to 70 mistakes they do per day. As for the Prophet ﷺ, gentleness and refraining from violence, this is apparent in his life, in his seerah, in his biography. The Jews used to come and greet the Prophet ﷺ by twisting words. So the Islamic greeting is Assalamu alaikum, which means peace be upon you. The Jews used to come and twist the word by saying Assalamu alaikum. And Assalamu alaikum means death be upon you. So once Aisha could not hold back. So she exploded and said, upon you is death and the curse of Allah Azza wa Jal. She could not hold herself back. And the Prophet said, alayhi salatu wasalam, O Aisha, take it easy, for Allah loves gentleness in all matters. And she said, O Prophet of Allah, don't you hear what they're saying? They're asking Allah for death to be upon you. And the Prophet smiled and said, I hear what they say. I respond to them by saying, wa alaykum, and may death be upon you. And Allah responds to my dua and does not respond to their dua. And Aisha, may Allah be pleased with her, says that the Prophet ﷺ also was so gentle that he never ever beaten a woman or a servant. He would not physically abuse a woman or a servant, unlike what a lot of the people do nowadays. And he would never avenge himself unless there would be something that transgresses the limits of Allah Azza wa Jal. Only then he would react. But if someone transgresses against him personally, he would forgive and pardon, alayhi salatu wasalam. And